Hello friends, my name is Claire and I am going to be doing a farmhouse in The Sims 4. So I kind of came up with a story for this house. This is a multi-generational farmhouse and the newest generation has just taken over this cottage, and so we are going to be adding some more suburban furniture, not just like cottagey farmhouse furniture. I am only going to be using the cottage living and the base game for this build. It is built in the world that came with cottage living, kind of on Bagley, and we are starting off in the entryway. And I wanted this house to feel a little bit old, and so that's kind of why there's not really an open concept in this house, and there's like walls like separating. But for this entryway slash dining room, I was mentioning that maybe it could have been more like a formal dining room space, but they needed more dining areas. And I realized when I make kitchens, I make them big enough where there's a lot of counter space, but not really much space for a dinette area. And so I feel like making a little seating or dining area in the front room made sense, and so we are just going to be adding some pictures. It was a bit hard because I didn't want to make it like a gallery wall in this area, but I wanted to make sure the walls did have a lot of life on them and pictures and decorations, and so I do try to do a little mix and match between the pictures and other like dining room items and plants. I feel like I said this in another video, but I don't add that many plants into my builds. I know they are really good for life and for health, but I sometimes just forget to add plants in the Sims. So we are just going to be adding a picture of a sim. I was mentioning that this sim could have been like one of the previous generations, and then on the other side of this wall there are some more like pictures of possible previous generations, and so we are just going to be finding a little bit more of a farmhousey chair to go in this corner, and I felt like it just kind of made more sense to have like a chair like that to be like just tell a little bit more of a story of this being a farmhouse passed down from generation to generation. And now we are going to be working on the office space, and I wanted this space to be very much like a workspace. I do have some skill building items. I have an art easel and a guitar and a bookshelf, so it's very much mostly designed to be a workspace to like maybe like search for like farmers markets. I know there's not really like farmers markets in the game, but since there's like going to be produce being produced out on this cottage, I feel like it made sense to like kind of like make deals, I guess. And so we are just going to be adding those skill building items that I mentioned earlier, and just going to be adding some artwork to this room. And I was mentioning that this house would have just kind of had like one sim, like one of the generational sims. Maybe the other parent could have come from more of a higher lifestyle, and so we are just going to be going into the bathroom real quick. This is the only bathroom on the first floor, and right outside of the bathroom is the kitchen. And I thought it'd be fun to go with a deep blue countertop, but I do change it to be a deep green countertop. I feel like the white countertop against the white backsplashes kind of blend in too much, and so I went for this natural wood type countertop, and green is my favorite color, and so that was just kind of a win-win to add a pop of green into the space as well. And I didn't want to like go too bold with the appliances, and so I do keep the refrigerator and the oven to be a lighter color, and I feel like that just kind of helped blend the space in more and just kind of like hid the appliances a little bit. Not I feel like plants should be hidden. I just didn't want like the appliances to be the bold feature in this kitchen. And so we are just going to be adding some bar stools and going to be adding some of the kitchen items in here. I realize now as I edited the video that like I put most of these items on the sides not of the kitchen. There's not really anything in the middle of the kitchen like where the window is, and so we are just going to be adding a little egg basket. I do have chickens, the chicken hut in this house, and so I thought it'd be fun and make sense to have the chicken themed egg basket in the kitchen. And I am just going to be adding a little bit of shade so you get some privacy. And now we are going to be adding some more pictures and details onto the walls. I feel like it was kind of hard to find like the right pictures for the right style with my pack limitations. If you do have any suggestions on pack limitations, let me know down in the comments. I have mostly every pack, so, and I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to brag, but I do like building with different styles. I did recently get the For Rent pack, and I've been a little bit afraid to do some Pacific Islander or like Asian inspired builds just because I don't really know much about that area of the world. And so we are just going now into the living room space, and I wanted the kitchen or the fireplace and the TV to be like not in tune with each other. I wanted the fireplace to be kind of more somewhat of in the center of the house, and then the TV is obviously a new addition that came into the house. And so the reason why I wanted the fireplace to be more centered in the house as much as it could be, I was thinking like, okay, if this is like an old generational farmhouse, then like it has to like fireplaces used to be like the main heating source for houses, and so it would make sense for this fireplace to be like in the middle of the room or the middle of the house. And so we are just going to be adding some windows. I wasn't sure if I wanted to add a window on each level. The room above where I just added the window already had a window, and so I saw like that would have been too much windows, especially since it is a bathroom. And so we are now just quickly going back into the office. I realized I didn't add that many decorations onto the desk, and now we are back in the living room. I do add some kid items for the next generation that will get into this house, and I wanted to add these items mostly because I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be like a family home. I don't have too many kid items anywhere. This is a perfect spot for some kid items. And so we are just going to be adding a little coffee table underneath the TV, but I do end up going with some shelving instead of a natural coffee table. So I do just kind of raise this basket up, and so it looks more like a coffee table. It wouldn't actually function like you sometimes wouldn't put things on the table. And so here are some more pictures of possible previous generations. Imagining that these two Sims could have been like the great great grandparents, and then the picture on the other side of the dining or in the dining room would be like the grandpa. And so we are just going to be adding some details onto the fireplace. It took me a little while to figure out what to add and what to not add. It might cut a little weirdly, and that's because it took me a long while and I was trying a lot of different things. But I feel like having like the old-fashioned like fire chimney care things by the fireplace was kind of cute. And now we are on the second level of the house, which is where all three bedrooms are. I didn't do much in the center of this room. I was imagining it more as just kind of like a big hallway to get to room. So I just kind of placed down a rug just to kind of like realistically like protect the wood and just kind of give it a soft place for bare feet to land on. But we are first going to be starting off in the kids' bedroom, and I wanted this bedroom to possibly maybe be the current parents' like previous kids' bedroom, and so I wanted to keep like some older details like the wooding on the bottom, and I felt like the bunny wallpaper was just kind of a fun detail to add. And I wasn't really imagining this kid would have any specific skills, so I was trying to keep it very generic. I do add a violin, but there's not really much like skill building items besides that. There's a toy chest, but I wanted to keep this area very simple. So if you download this house, you can add your Sims your own Sims interests and details into this room. And so we are just going to be adding some pictures. And if you do want to play in this house, the information is down in the description. And I post new videos every single Tuesday. So while you're down there, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I would love to reach 100 subscribers soon, and we're so close to 80 subscribers at the time that I'm recording this video. And so we are just going to be adding some like sports memorabilia and a bookshelf just to kind of like give it some more generic skills into this room. And we are now just going to be adding a bookshelf into the hallway and going into the teens bedroom, which I wanted to put not so much more farmhouse items but more so modern items or contemporary items in this room, just to distinguish that this teenager sim has their own style and it may not be the farmhouse style, but I wanted this area to be very fun and playful. And I was imagining that this sim could possibly be in their mid-teens, so it's like they have a desk because they can do their homework on their own, whereas the kid probably needs a little bit of help with their homework, and so they do their homework in the kitchen or in the dining room so they can be close at hand to one of their parents. And so we are just going to be adding a bookshelf into this room. I didn't really come up with like, oh, these Sims are book Sims or like bookworms. The whole family is a bookworm, but there are a lot of bookshelves in this area or in this entire house. And so we are just going to be decorating the desk just kind of simply. I didn't want to like overwhelm this area. I wanted to keep it very clean, and so we are just going to be adding some lights onto the side tables and kind of figuring out what to add for artwork for this sim. And we are just going downstairs real quick to be adding a backpack. Again, I wanted to be have a little difference between the kid and the teen, so it's like the teen will be able to remember their backpack before they go downstairs, whereas the kid would have probably forgotten the backpack if it was in the kid's room, and so the kid keeps their backpack by the front steps or by the entryway. And now we are just going to be finishing up this room with some artwork. And again, I wanted to go for more modern contemporary in this room, and so I kind of wanted to replicate that with the artwork. But now we are in the third and final bedroom, which is the primary suite, and there is only one bed that came with this pack, the cottage living pack, and so I made sure I used it in this room just to give it more of a cottagey feel. And I did want to add like the the old-fashioned like dresser, because I was thinking like they just kind of kept that, maybe gave it a new coat of paint, but it's still good, still in use. And so we are just going to be adding some lights. I did want this room to be really fancy, and so I kind of wanted to replicate that with the light fixtures, and it felt really hard in a way to decide what to be on this wall, and so that's why I make the bathroom a little bit bigger and kind of make that area easier to not decorate, is just make a bump out, and then, oh, I can't put wall or picture on there because there's now a door in both ways, but I did want to add a little not footstool, or just a little chair on the end of the bed, and we are now in the primary bathroom, which I decided to keep kind of simple. And so I just decided to add all of the necessary things. It is a full bathroom. I did want to tie the downstairs kitchen to the primary bedroom, and so I am going to be using the same countertops and colors as I did down in the kitchen. I'm sorry if the aerial view kind of messes you up. It just makes it easier for me to see how the bathroom will be finalized and laying out, and so we are just going to be adding some details in. We're going to be finishing up with that bathroom and going to be going into the hallway shared bathroom between the two kids and teen rooms, and so we're going to be making this bathroom a little bit bigger. I don't know why, but I feel like whenever I do a bathroom, it usually ends up being in the front of the house, and that's no different with this bathroom, and so we are just going to be adding some privacy since it is in the front of the house, and I did want to add another little cabinet spot for those extra things that you only need once in a while. And now we are outside, and I did want to add a little shack for a llama or a cow, and then of course, like I mentioned earlier, got to add the chicken hut, so the egg basket in the kitchen will make sense. And so I did add a few gardening plots. I love how these gardening plots look like they just got graded, and so we are just going to be adding some train paint to make these animal spots look really loved. And we are getting close to the end of the video, so I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I post new videos every single Tuesday. And if you want more of what you see, you can follow me over on Instagram. My ID is green_rose_sims, and that is the same on YouTube, Instagram, and the Sims 4 gallery. If you have any build suggestions for me, make sure to leave them down in the comments, and I hope to see you all next week for another Sims 4 video. So